What are you waiting for?
Come join the Geek Drunk Nation. All you hear is Tosh. I'm sitting back down with his cup. We are live, guys. How is everybody doing today? It's a six-way.
That sounds so wrong.
I know. Everything I say is wrong. I won't be talking a lot today. I injured myself in the dumbest way possible trying to help myself. But yeah. We're live. Kata's back. We have a special guest. We have Toxic Taz on the stream today.
Hello. It's great to be here, guys. I've been a long-time viewer of the streams and everything, so it's great to finally be on the other side of it and kind of, talk to you guys about our favorite shows and movies and that type of thing.
Yep.
I'm really jealous of how what kind of mic is that?
It is a Shure SM7B.
Yeah, I need that because
I think it's just his voice, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, he has a radio base.
It's the
it's Toxic
the mic.
Taz 3.0.
No, it's actually the purple XLR cable that just like enriches my voice.
Are you sure?
Nah.
I mean, I'm using the black ones. I don't know. Darren's also here, but he's at work right now, so
all he hears carts.
Yeah. I salute him for working and
for sneaking behind the scenes with that.
He's wrecking the establishment. If you catch that reference. Doesn't play by anybody's rules. Is he Spider-Punk? Is that who he is?
Yes. Oh, maybe that's it.
Yes, apparently yes.
I think that was a yes.
So, anything else interesting happened throughout the week?
How was your week, Toxic Taz?
Yeah.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun. I mean, I saw a really great animated movie this past week. I think everybody has been talking about it. I think everybody's been talking about it across the Spiderverse. Yeah, no, I mean, I will say I definitely had somewhat of an unpopular opinion when I first saw it. I still hold the opinion that Into the Spider-Verse is the superior movie, but I really, really did enjoy Across the Spider-Verse. I think it's, built off of the first film in every way you possibly could, as far as like in a technical aspect, in a visual aspect, in a character development and a story aspect. But just the fact that the first movie stands on its own much more as a singular project, something that you don't need a resolution to in another film. I think that's really the one reason why the first film kind of stands above the second one, but that's not to say I didn't still love it.
All right.
I see the chat. We're not gonna talk spoilers. If it's anything spoilery, it'll be something that will be reserved that we've seen in the trailers. It won't be nothing spoiler because I know everybody hasn't really seen the film.
We're not dicks. We're not dicks.
Yeah, we're not. we're not
completely spoiler free.
Yeah.
Wait, when did it come out?
It came out like
Thursday.
Thursday night.
Really?
Thursday night was
come out till next week in Japan, so that's crazy.
Weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Dang. Flash comes out next week, so when are you getting Flash?
Oh no, we're getting Flash on the same day for some reason.
That's hot.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. We got Guardians the same day.
Well, okay. I was going to say DC. You can have it the same day because it's good. We need it. But Marvel, sorry, but you got Guardians of the Galaxy on the same day, so I can't say that. So Taj, how's your week going?
It's decent. I mean, it just started, so nothing really going on.
What's your non-spoilery kind of like?
Oh, I love the movie. I do agree with what Taz said. Like, the first one is still the better movie, but this one this movie was just so good. Like after the movie ended, I was just sitting there for like an extra 10 minutes.
Makes me want a live action Spider-Man 2099.
Oh, I think he's coming. It's no way that doesn't happen.
You want
Kata,
Oscar Isaac to play him though?
Yes, I don't care about Moon Knight.
I would like Oscar Isaac Moon Knight to meet Oscar Isaac 2099 Spider-Man just for fun.
I want Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop to meet Haley Steinfeld, Gwen Stacy. It has to happen. It has to be Gwen Stacy.
Well, they're on different Earths, so it kind of makes sense that they could.
She
do
could
that.
have dye her hair blonde or get a wig or something.
It'll
and
work.
have like I think a long, exactly what she wore in the movie. So Kata, how's your weekend?
Good. I got work in an hour and a half, but I'm doing work from home, so because it's 7:30 a.m. in on Tuesday in Japan.
How's the future?
Yeah, it's all right. It's still in one piece. The world's still in one piece, so you guys will be all right. But yeah, Into the Spiderverse was one of my favorite comic book movies. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
What's your favorite moment in Into the Spider-Verse since you haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse?
Into the Spider-Verse, a lot of the comedy, but I really like this last scene where Miles Morales is holding on to the original Peter Parker. He's like, "You got to go home, man." That was you just put me on, so that was one of the only things I could think of right now. The first thing that popped into my head.
All right. So, what since we're trying to not do spoilers, what's your thoughts? Did they use Peter B as a controversy that's been going around that they didn't use Peter B Parker enough? And obviously, it's not his movie. So I mean, like, what's your thoughts on that? Toxic Taz?
I think that this movie definitely shifted the focus away from certain characters that were the main focus in the first film, and allowed other characters to have that moment to shine in this one without getting into any spoilers. So I feel like that's kind of as far as I want to take it as with that. But I think this movie definitely focused on different characters, developing their backstory a little bit more, and I really enjoyed getting to see more of these characters. Certain characters that we didn't get to see quite as much of in the previous film, and certain new characters that also got some time to shine as well.
Touch?
Yeah, I agree. And also, like, everyone saw the trailer. He has a kid. Like, did y'all really expect him to be in the movie most of the time? Like I didn't expect that. But I was happy, like, other Spider-Man got the chance to shine. Like, it was definitely needed.
And I kind of like the kid's name too. It was a callback to like Spider Girl. Those comics. I grew up on the Spider Girl comics. That like father like daughter, and Peter Parker was wounded by Hobgoblin or something like that, where one of those pumpkin grenades hit him. So yeah, it was. There was no more Spider-Man for real. So Kata, same question. What? You didn't see it, so you don't know.
We have Quindolyn in the chat 2 weeks in a row. I'm so honored.
Welcome.
She says, I thought the movie was great. I forgot it was a 2-part film till we got towards the end. It was nice to see so many other Spider-Men, and the shot of the comics that relate to them was a nice touch. I will say, without diving too deep into how they handled like the literal comic book aspect like they did in the first film, what I will say is I like the building block aspect of how they did it, because that just lets us know even if we go beyond this initial trilogy, they're just going to keep adding and adding and adding. And honestly, they're handling their animated Spider-Man universe a lot better than they handle the live action. And to me, that says a lot about Marvel in general, because I posted a status this weekend on Twitter. Peter Parker's comic book run as of late has been pure trash.
It was
and
terrible.
Miles Morales continues to soar. Like, Peter's stories get worse and worse every week they come out. And I honestly, when they first did the all new, all different run, like I read it, I'm like, okay, cool. Peter's back in his body. He's running this company now that Otto set up for him. So that bothered me a little bit. But he's following, he's doing what he needs to do. But then the stories just got boring. It's just so much tech incorporated into his suit. So then I jumped into the all new, all different Miguel O'Hara. With his new suit, which I hope we do see this new suit at some point in the next film. It's like really dope. It's white on red, I think, as opposed to blue. It does more things. Like it helps him way more. Peter designed it for him, so I'm like, okay, yeah, they're doing a lot of cool things with Peter. But then when they start pulling them apart and just focusing on Peter, okay, yeah, Peter has support. Miles has support. Miguel has support. Miles is the one that continues to rise. Like I see so many conversations going on over the internet, with, different social media sites, like TikTok, stuff like that. They're saying they wouldn't mind if Miles was the mainstream Spider-Man. And honestly, these films prove, and his comics and his game, they prove why that is a perfect idea. Like it's so many Elseworld Miles Morales stories that people don't know about. When Miles became possessed by the Venom symbiote and the Carnage symbiote at one point in the storyline. Right? It's so much more that you can do with Miles that's been done with Peter, but it's just better because Miles is he's a better written character. Marvel is so focused on trying to take Peter back to those teenage high school years. Like you did a whole Elseworld story about Peter in high school. Why? You did a whole Elseworld story about Peter having this random sidekick named Spider-Bite when you could have just did what the games did. Mm-hmm. Just made Miles his literal sidekick. The cartoons handled their relationship way better. This stuff proves Miles Morales is the better Spider-Man. Once people realize that, I think we'll be better off.
And he's not like taking over Peter Parker, exactly. Spider-Man. He's an original character.
Has his own story.
He has his own story. He has his own name. He's not like Peter. He's not Spider-Man 2. He's Spider-Man. There's multiple Spider-Man. So, yeah. So what's your thoughts about the controversy about Peter Parker versus Miles Morales? Toxic Taz.
Oh, no, I think, honestly, this movie did a great job of showing why Miles Morales is Spider-Man. Like, he is this Earth's Spider-Man. I think they did a great job of showing, how much of a responsibility that was for him, how much he had to take on, I guess, as far as living up to that mantle. But the fact that he made it his own, that on his Earth, Miles Morales is Spider-Man, nobody else. He is, as I've said before, he is him. So, I think that this movie did a very good job of showing that. I think just the fact that Miles has become a much more household name recently as well has been very important as far as a progression for the character. I remember like when he was first showing up in like the animated series and everything like that, he wasn't quite as well known, but I know that they did that character so well. I've loved him in the Spider-Man games, in the PS4 game, in his own game, and he seems like he's going to be even a much bigger part of Spider-Man 2 once that comes out, and they're even giving Peter like the Venom symbiote abilities basically to like make it so that Miles isn't as overpowered in the game, because obviously he's got so there's like that big like a power gap between them, so literally Peter has to have the Venom symbiote if they want the two to be on the same playing field.
So
15. I forgot about that.
Taj, what are your thoughts about the whole Peter Parker versus Miles Morales? Which one's better and whatnot?
You know how people are when something is first and then you get a second version of that. Everyone wants to hold on to this one thing, and it's like it's okay for something else to come along and be better or be handled better, in my opinion. That's my issue with Star Wars right now. But like, I love Miles. Like, he's a great character. Peter's been around for so long. It's like Marvel don't know what to do with him, so they're just doing anything and just see what sticks. Like, I don't know, but I love Miles. Like, I think both of them can can exist at the same time. People, like, you don't have to put them up against each other. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, take the Flash for instance. There's 4 different Flashes, and they all have different names. So there could be another spider. There's a Spiderverse of spiders. So there's that, like, everyone can, with a different name, different look, can be Spider-Man. So I mean,
anyone can wear the mask.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kata?
Even a horse. That's a little spoilery, but it's not like big.
What I think about this Peter Parker thing?
Yeah,
I'm just going to be honest. I think it's about the race thing, I don't want to even comment further, but I mean, I think it's just a way of people who are, who might be biased or racist a little bit to be talking about it. And I don't know.
And honestly, you're right. And that blows me because you see people praising Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can praise him who is Latino and Irish descent. Calls himself Spider-Man. But you hate Miles Morales. I don't get it.
You see all the hate that Spider-Punk is getting?
Yeah, I'm like, what?
I was like, do y'all not read comics?
Black?
Right. I was like, do y'all not read comics?
They're normies. They don't read shit.
Who didn't? I know what it is. They didn't realize they played the Spider-Man PS4 game, got the Spider-Punk skin, and just thought it was another Peter Parker. That's what it was. That's all it was. Like, that's the only explanation, and that's really stupid. I'm like, y'all out here, and then people, and like, I understand, people are normies. They don't look too much, they don't research stuff. But people is like, oh my God, this Miguel O'Hara, what is he, a vampire? I said, girl said, she said, what is he? He just told you how he got his powers 5 minutes ago. He's not a regular spider. Like, his origin story is like dark as hell. His origin story is dark. He literally had to create a serum to stop himself from being addicted to a drug that he was forced upon. And that's what gave him his spider-like abilities. So yes, he has the teeth because, it's like a spider's fangs. So he has fangs. He has talons. That's just literally how he sticks to walls. And yes, you guys may be like, oh, he's so cool because or you may be thinking, when you see the film, oh, he's a little bit too aggressive. You can see how it is in the trailer. That's literally how Miguel is in the comics. Miguel is not, like, he's not a bad guy, but Miguel is a dick. He's like back in the 90s when he was introduced, 2099, everything was edgier. It's even worse when he gets brought into present day, back in 2016 with the, whole all new, all different, because he's trying to adjust to a new timeline, to this old Earth. So his attitude is even worse. But that's just how he is.
So, Lightning Bolt with a good question. Who's the best Peter Parker, Toby, Andrew, or Tom? Talks to Taz.
Toby Maguire.
Explain.
Honestly, I'm definitely biased as far as this goes. I grew up with the Raimi films, just rewatching them on. Yeah,
How old are you?
I'm 22.
Dang, I'm so old.
We're 30.
So I grew up watching. I grew up watching these films, just on repeat, and Tobey Maguire was the, I guess, pinnacle live action version of Spider-Man that I always looked at. I always felt he was also very similar to, say, like the 90s animated series Spider-Man, which I always caught on like replays and everything like that. So I just felt like he just embodied that character so well. in live action. And again, just the fact that that was the only Spider-Man out at the time too. So I guess there weren't really many options, but just as we've gotten more live action interpretations, I've always found myself coming back to those Raimi, to that Raimi trilogy, and just loving Tobey Maguire's take on the character of Spider-Man.
The way I kind of like describe, Peter Parker's and Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire played an awesome Peter Parker. He plays a serious Spider-Man though, not like the comics. More like he's more serious than most Spider-Mans that you kind of like grew up with, in the comics and stuff like that. Andrew, he played a iffy Peter Parker, but his Spider-Man, oh my God, the quips and all that. I'm like, what the heck is, the whole who's been a bad lizard, that's Spider-Man. And then we get Tom Holland. Best of both worlds. I mean, he plays a nerd, he plays a geek, he plays a fanboy, just like Peter Parker was. He also plays the quips on Spider-Man, the whole my favorite scene of all time of Tom Holland's Spider-Man is he grabs Winter Soldier's arm and says, "Dude, you have a metal arm? That's so cool!" And the whole talking nonstop.
It's his youthful demeanor. That's what about Tom. I loved how even though he was 18, it's like you did not hit puberty, bro.
And the whole when he's fighting and talking, he's like, "There's not this much talking and fighting." I'm like, I'm just nervous and whatnot. It's so great to see. The whole his introduction, it was perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, Tom Holland. You can definitely imagine if you were to be thrown in that situation, how much fun it'll be and the joy that you would have, and meeting all these different heroes that you would look up to. So I think he really embodies that well. But for me, it's Tobey Maguire, the OG.
Yeah, I get the OG-ness of it all. All that.
They made comic book films, popular. Up until then, it was kind of a cheesy thing that nobody really watched. But because of all that, all this great stuff afterwards came, and now it's mainstream.
He's not actually the OG Spider-Man. Actually, I just
for movies.
Yeah,
for movies.
No, for the TV show, he was the first live action Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What the heck? I totally forgot that. That was so campy. I don't want to watch it ever again. Taj, who's your favorite Spider-Man?
Probably, I was gonna say Miles, but out of just Peter Parker in general,
Peter Parker.
I don't know.
There's gonna be
it's hard for me to pick because I like all of them for different things, but I like all of them equally. So it's I don't really have it. Even though I grew up on the Sam Raimi ones, I never looked at him and was like, "Oh, he was an amazing." Yeah, it felt like Spider-Man to me. I was like, "That's a grown man cosplaying."
that felt
and the movie came out, the movie came out. When did the first one come out? 2002.
2002, yeah.
I was 9, dude. I was used to. I was like, no, I don't like this. But then I seen Andrews, and I still didn't. I liked his a little bit more, and then I got Tom's, and I was just
what's
I like
funny
all of them
is
equally.
I was 7 or 10, but Spider-Man 2 scared me out of the theater. I was young, so I didn't. This would be my first scare kind of PG-13 movie. I couldn't take it, and it was so loud in the theater that the whole trains. I think by the time the train scene happened, I had to leave because I was I was so shaken up. But as I grew older and watched it again, it's the best Spider-Man movie. So I like the whole Dr. Octavius, his whole persona, his he brought something new to Spider-Man that I really really liked. I even liked him coming back. He was so cool. It was you're not Peter Parker. That whole scene, I'm like, damn, that's a diss.
It was, but
But yeah. So, Kay, did you say your favorite Peter Parker?
Yeah, Toby.
Oh, Toby. Okay, yeah. Just making sure. I think I jumped out. I was thinking Taz, Taj, and then get it.
I piggybacked on him.
All right. Let's see.
I disagree with
Gwendolyn
that
says,
comment.
I didn't like Kristen Dunst either.
Oh no, she was terrible. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't
that
say
Mary Jane. That Mary Jane was terrible.
I wouldn't
did
say.
not like it.
I wouldn't say Kirsten Dunst was terrible. I'd say
She
her
wasn't
writing.
terrible. Yeah, the
Her
writing.
writing for the
Yeah.
She had
character
the look.
Yeah.
She had the
was
look
terrible.
down.
Like you can only do so much with what you're given, and they made her a toxic love interest.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, the Spider-Man 3 one where they introduced Gwen and then didn't kill her, like that whole, as she's
I was like, what was the point?
Yeah,
that would have been awesome. Actually not terrible, but awesome if they go with
But
the
it was too late though. It was too late because we already had 2 movies building up him and Mary Jane, and it's just like.
And then they recast her, and then they killed her. I'm like,
I mean,
and it's in the wrong scene too, because technically the Spider-Man 3 version is when she should have been crushed, not slapped in the head. In Amazing Spider-Man 2, that was like
he tried
terrible.
to catch her in her neck, like. Snap. Listen,
I
saw that movie in theaters, and when it happened,
Yeah.
the entire movie theater was quiet, dude.
Yeah.
And this one guy, I remember because I was laughing. This one dude got up after that happened and left, and he didn't come back for the rest of the movie. Like he was gone.
Yeah, you didn't. You was like, you didn't expect that.
Nope.
What I will say, cause she put another comment. That's how I am. I like them all, but for different reasons. For Toby, the nostalgia reason. He captured the innocence and youthfulness of Peter Parker. He captured that. Although they had to do what they do with him in the comics, fast tracking through everything. Partially because of the age of Toby at the time when he was playing a high school senior age Peter Parker. He was
30.
Yeah, 27. So they had to fast track all of that. Then with Andrew, he was old as well, but Andrew captured the more ultimate Spider-Man Peter Parker of everything. He was more cool, more laid back skater. Yeah, no,
I get what he did.
I know what I'm saying, but yeah, he was based on the Ultimate Comics. Then when you get to Tom, you get the best of both worlds. But they were also pulling from Miles Morales at that time.
And I feel like they were pulling from Ultimate too, because you have the whole Nick Fury.
Yeah.
But
they were all like, I mean, the whole thing with Ned, you got Genki.
It's Genki, yeah.
Like but which is why in the films, in the animated films, they designed Genki to look more like his updated comic book look. They slimmed him up. In the comics right now, he's sporting a man bun. Genki's
and Ned lasts
getting
a lot
chicks.
of weight for the third one. So I feeling in the fourth one he's going to turn Hobgoblin or something like that along the lines.
I don't think they're bringing him back.
Y'all have to understand, Ned was literally never the Hobgoblin. He never was inherently himself Hobgoblin. He was possessed. Well, not even possessed. He was framed. He never said, I'm the Hobgoblin. It was never none of that. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to bite your head off, 3-Dubs. But
I'm just saying. I'm like, for me, I didn't know that. So
I'm saying, now you do. I'm so tired of that narrative because I'm like, y'all, people have gone up. I can't wait to see Ned turn the Hob. Oh, like for the whole last movie. Oh, he slimmed up because he's gonna be Hobgoblin. Why though?
I have a friend named Genki.
You have a friend named Genki?
Yeah, Genki is a Japanese word for healthy, or like in good health, or vitality.
Is it
energetic? Really? Yeah. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of like they try to make it. I mean, he's not Japanese, really, right? He's like maybe Chinese or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But he's definitely not Japanese. But yeah, Genki's a Japanese word. It's like when you're like, "What's up?" You say "Genki." You're like, "You're doing well." It's just it's a Japanese word.
I kind of
Gwendolyn, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that they veered away from Harry, because we literally just had 2 Harrys back to back that went down the same path, except one was slightly more deranged.
Yeah.
They were
Looking at
both
you,
bad.
looking at you, Dane DeHaan.
They were both bad though.
But even in the games, he doesn't have Harry. Like, Harry is an afterthought. I don't know what's happening in the second one, but like Harry is like in a test tube.
It's, from some of the theories and stuff going around, it seems like he could be a big part of the game, at least at the beginning. I don't know as far, like, how far they're actually going to take that. I know the theory right now is basically he's Venom at the beginning of the game, and then Peter gets the symbiote and then uses it to somehow try to cure Harry of whatever's going on with it, and then potentially Peter ends up becoming a version of a Venom as well, and then as Miles, you might have to fight Peter, Venom Peter Parker. That would be kind of interesting.
Low-key,
But that's the theory going around.
I wish that they would just let you choose who you want to play. Like, I wish they each had their own story mode instead of having to switch back and forth throughout the game. Because I'm not gonna lie, yes, they made Peter more interesting in the game with all these gadgets, but Miles literally has powers.
Oh,
what's up?
The Godfather.
Hello.
Miles literally has powers. Miles is literally the more interesting character.
Miles Morales is Miles Morales.
That's what I was saying.
It doesn't make him like less important, but yes, I understand. Like, Peter, Peter Parker started this whole. Basically, he's like the original in the comics, the original Spider Totem. But from him gets birth all these infinite possibilities of these different Spider-Men. And Miles is the one that just comes out with powers out the butt. Like, come on, you can turn invisible. What spider can do that?
I wish it lasted longer in the games, because that's fun.
No, I hate the timer. They put a timer on it in the games, and that's so irritating. I'm like, I just want to stay invisible. Like,
I
let
want
me
to
stay
sneak
invisible.
up behind the guys and just zap them.
I mean, you are invisible.
Well, thanks. I feel.
Where'd Lance go? Anybody see
Oh wow,
Lance?
that hurts. But no, it's like it's just so much more. I'm glad Miles is getting the love he's getting. Sony did it the right way.
Oh,
I'm
telling you, I went again last night. This is the third time I've seen it this weekend. 3 times.
Third time.
Wow.
It was packed. Packed.
Did
There was
they-
not an empty seat in the theater, and we went to a 9:00 showing on a Sunday night.
Did they react the same way at the end of the movie?
A lot of people were like,
I was so
confused.
pissed.
Like,
How are people forgetting? Like, they announced it. Like,
no, I mean, like, a lot of
I
people
forgot.
were confused. Yeah, I know a lot of people were confused. And as I was walking out, I was like, yes, it was always advertised as a 2-part film, just like Infinity War and Endgame.
yeah.
It was
and
always
then
advertised that
I've
way.
been telling people, like all my friends that I went to see, and I'm like, just think about it this way: if it wasn't delayed because of COVID, you would have had to wait 2 years for the next part, because it was supposed to come out last year. I'm like,
Isn't
either way
it
you look
wild?
out.
The 2 biggest openings of the year are both animated movies.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers and Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse are the biggest films of the year in openings.
And speaking of great box office numbers, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 has surpassed I think it's 800 million now.
It's
Or close.
It's close. The last time I saw it was like still rising. It was over 780, but it could be over 800 by now.
So yeah,
Over
It
9.
says 780.
Yeah, but they said that's not counting the rest of this week. Like, they still have to count some of this weekend. I'm surprised it's still in the box office. To be honest,
Yeah.
they usually pull movies out by now, but
Yeah.
it's doing really well. But all the haters said the same thing about Guardians of the Galaxy because of Quantumania, and I told people, I was like, that movie was just in a weird position. Quantumania was in a weird position. It wasn't being advertised heavily. It wasn't really an Ant-Man movie. It felt like something that belonged to like Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor. And so that was kind of the thing. I blame Disney and Marvel for not advertising it properly.
It felt like a King interlude kind of episode in between movies.
Yeah.
That, the controversy kind of led to, that they didn't think about.
I think that people like the whole thing about Marvel is dead. Now they've got Guardians, and even though this is technically a Sony film, it's a Marvel property. They both did really well. So,
what's your thoughts about the Miles Morales live action? That's
I mean, do we get a casting or anything on it?
No. It's more
okay. I was like, did I miss some news?
Like the lightning.
Look,
visibility.
Miles deserves all the love he can get, so I'm totally down with him getting a live action film. But it's going to be really hard.
It is
to be better than these animated movies, because one thing I've noticed is there's a lot of things you can do in animation that you still really can't do in live action because it just doesn't work. And this movie, just this franchise, makes all the right choices in everything that they do. It's just so beautiful. Like, for example, you have Gwen's world where it's like a mood ring for her, which is how they describe that world. They're like, her world is basically a mood ring around her. So that's why colors change and you get abstract stuff, which is really interesting. And then you have Spider-Punk, who was such a dope character in the movie. To see him come out and look like punk rock stickers that you would see on a wall of a club, or patches on a jacket. I thought that was really interesting. And then you have just all of them were very unique and interesting. I just they make all the right choices, and the soundtrack was so good.
Yes,
so good. So it's going to be hard to beat it. It really will be. It's going to come down to casting. Who do they have in the roles in that movie, and who is directing it? That's really what it's going to come down to.
I kind of drew a blank on who I would like the casting, because all the ones that were perfect for the role are too old now. Like, what's his name? Will Smith's son was a perfect casting. Jaden.
I don't
and then
like
he
that.
got too
wait,
old.
wait,
I don't like that one.
I was gonna say, have you seen the movie that he did with his dad? Have you seen
After
that one?
Earth? That movie was
After Earth. No, I haven't.
Okay, watch that and then join us next week and see if you
Well, I mean, obviously now he's too old, but I was, that, and then also the kid from the Ravens Home's son.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that more than Jaden, but yeah. Jaden is. I don't have an issue with. I don't have an issue with Jaden at all. I think he, no problems. But when it comes to acting, Will Smith has a level of charisma that Jaden just doesn't have.
Yeah.
Now,
what about Miles Brown? Miles Brown is half. Latino.
Miles Brown. He could do it. I mean, I would have no problem with him doing it. My whole thing is, when we get to Beyond the Spider-Verse, are they going to make? Is this Miles going to be the Miles to be live action?
What do you mean, the one that we already have now?
Yeah, the voice. No,
not like just the character. Is this going to be the version we're going to follow in live action?
I have a theory about why they're doing this. I have a theory.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
So Tobey Maguire is way too old to come back and play a regular Spider-Man. I mean, he could, but he would be like a mentor Spider-Man. He wouldn't be like
he would be Peter B. Parker.
Right. I love Andrew Garfield, but it seems like they just don't want him to come back as the primary Spider-Man for whatever reason. And I get it. He's a little bit like, if you want to do like another trilogy of movies, that would also put him in a similar spot. I think because Tom Holland is so connected to the MCU and we know that he's going to continue with the MCU, they want Miles to be their live action Spider-Man. In the Venomverse, because are we doing spoilers or no?
No spoilers? Kid hasn't seen it yet.
Okay, it's not out of Japan. Sorry.
No spoilers. But I think if you see the movie, there's a part of the movie that gives you an idea they may be connecting things together, and so I feel like they want, because Miles, look at the numbers right now. People are feeling this. It's really a vibe right now. They want to bring that into that dead ass Morbius world where people are just not feeling it, because you got to think we got Kraven coming out as well, and I don't think that's going to do well either. What's a better way to invigorate a franchise that needs a little help than to put in a character that everybody seems to really love right now? And I think a live action Miles being their primary Spider-Man in their version of like an Ultimates universe, I think would be really good. And then they could actually, I hate to say this, but they could actually do like the death of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Like they could do that storyline to give Miles that live action moment. You know what I mean? Like bring him back for like that first movie and then have that happen.
Or I mean, my idea was, I know 3Dubs had, 3Dubs and Flash Freak talked about it on Twitter this weekend. Like people saying like they don't want them to force him into Miles's world, into Peter Parker's MCU world per se for like training or anything. But
he already exists.
I always envisioned it like maybe this Miles does randomly show up. Maybe that, because if you think about it, in the comics, Earth 616, they do have their own Miles Morales.
Yeah.
He's not powered.
Right.
He grew up jaded. He became a criminal. So he exists, but he also sees the 1610 Miles who got moved to Earth 616 existing and thriving and, having everything, having the powers, working with Spider-Man. He sees that. Mm-hmm. So the MCU could do a play on that, even though they call themselves Earth 616, even though they're Earth 1999.
Yeah.
So maybe the Miles from Earth 1610 gets somehow spit out. His films could literally just be like, his live action film could literally be him with the little watch on, just showing up.
Right.
Like just getting spit out.
But
in
Lance,
various universe.
Do you really think Sony wants to give up that bag? Look at what's happening with Miles.
I don't think he's giving up that bag. I like, yes, the film would be him being spit out into these different universes, but he can still get spit back out into his own.
Right, but the problem is they would have to sit down at the table with Marvel and Disney and work out some kind of deal. Whereas right now they can literally just do whatever they want with Miles.
After all the love time was given them,
I get it. But I'm just telling you right now, this movie, I have a feeling this movie is going to make a lot of money, and I don't think they want to even share a penny with Marvel. To be honest. That's just my opinion. I actually think politics are going to get in the way of this, because if they were to even share Miles for a second in the MCU, whether it be a powered Miles or a non-powered Miles, that means they give Marvel the rights to use that character, and I don't see them doing that. I mean, they could for the fans, but let's be honest, I don't think they need to do that. I'm okay with Miles being part of his own little like Spiderverse world.
Speaking of the who owns Spider-Man, did they figure out if the Spider-Man rights are going to be public now, or are they going back to Sony? Like
I haven't seen anything else about it. I would assume if it was, then Sony couldn't continue to make the Spider-Man movies. They'd have to pay Marvel for them. So I'm going to guess that they've got some sort of contract with it, some kind of rights on it. Look, this is my opinion on this. If Venom and Spider-Verse would have not been profitable, they would have probably given up Spider-Man to Marvel, because there would have been no reason to hold on to it at that point. They would have made more money selling it back to Marvel. But because Venom has been profitable for them and now Miles is profitable. Look, let's be honest. Like, we've seen Peter Parker 10,000 times. You know what I mean? Like, we've had so many live action Peter Parkers, and I'm sure we'll have more of them eventually. But right now, Sony would be really smart to just capitalize on having their own unique Spider-Man that doesn't have to connect to the MCU. That's just
Spider-Gwen. That's another one.
They could do that too. They could do any alternate version of Spider-Man other than Peter, and they could still do a Peter, but any other alternate version, they could literally make live action. They could do a live action Spider-Man 2099 if they wanted. Mm-hmm. And I would not be surprised if we don't hear about that coming if this movie is a success, to be honest.
Yeah. I would love to see how they handle Nueva York in like a live action setting. But you know what we have to deal with? Oh my God, Spider-Man's a vampire. Oh my goodness, is he sucking their blood? Oh my God, he bit that guy. And then all of us are gonna have to be. He has venom in his teeth.
Yeah,
he's a literal spider.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
That's not Spider-Man.
Normal people like watching a comic book movie and not understanding. Like, I want to be the one that blurts out and says, "Read a comic."
Also, the turnaround on an animated movie is much longer than a live action movie, which means they could get more films out if they didn't make them all animated.
Spider-Rex.
Yeah, the
Spidey-Rex,
T-Rex.
Yeah.
That
Spider
was
Cat. I want to see the Spider Cat.
That
Peter
looked like
Peter
real.
Parker.
Peter Parker. Hey, I would watch that. That is hilarious. That is hilarious.
That
but
whole Spider Cat scene was hilarious. I literally thought that was a real cat. It looked like
it did look real. I did think the same thing too. Yeah.
You know what I did hate, and this is not a spoiler because everybody knows that Peter Parker from the PS4 verse is in this film.
Oh God, I didn't know that. Damn.
Missed opportunity to introduce that Miles. Let Miles meet another Miles that literally has the same powers. That was a missed opportunity. They could have both been standing right there, and they'd be like,
I get why they didn't do it though.
And because this Miles
could have had Miles cut it like, oh, I look good with the haircut.
I think it's because they were driving home the fact that him being a Spider-Man was a mistake. I think that was the whole point.
Yeah. And also that Miles lost his father.
Lost his dad. True. Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense for them to team up.
I can tell you right now, March next year cannot come soon enough. Like,
for real.
I was so mad.
I'm so ready for it.
You
know what I love also is that all the haters here on YouTube now have to swallow their words because they were talking mad trash about this movie and about like the whole Miles thing, and now this movie's getting nothing but love.
Don't you just love when they're wrong?
I just don't understand like the people that want something to fail so badly. Like I don't get it. Like if you don't like it, don't watch it. Like,
exactly.
So now, Toxic Taz, you're quiet over there. So what's your thoughts?
I've just been sitting back, letting you guys discuss this out. No, but I think bringing it back a little bit to
hold on, Taz. Eric, listen to his mic. Listen to that.
Hello,
like, oh my good, like he has a radio voice.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, it's also from the sound of it, you're probably running it through some really nice software, aren't you? The microphone.
Right now, there's no processing on it. It's just going into my audio interface, which is just a Focusrite. I have a cloud lifter.
I do too.
But
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I'm gonna go grab that right after this for sure.
Yeah, no, the cloud lifter gives it some extra clean gain, and so it sounds nice and crisp and everything. So
I'm so jealous.
ASMR all day.
Okay, keep going, Taz.
Yeah. So basically, if they want to implement Miles into live action, I feel like one of the ways that they could do it, I've seen a lot of interviews with the voice actor, Shameik Moore, I believe is his name. Yep. He's been talking about how he, is there anybody that you want to see play a live action Miles? And he's always like, I kind of would like to play a live action Miles.
Said he'd shave and slim up.
I think it would be interesting maybe if we see, say, some of these Spider-Verse characters show up in like a Secret Wars. I know we're leading to that eventually in the MCU. Maybe we just get some sort of like cameo, get them to show up there, but then maybe cast like, say, an unknown actor, a younger actor to play Miles Morales in an actual live action film where it's centered on him. So you kind of please both audiences there in that aspect. You get to see that animated version come into live action with that same voice actor, but then you also get a brand new take on the character. You can slot him in anywhere that you want, whether that be in the Sonyverse, whether that be in the MCU itself, with a brand new unknown actor, and you can kind of, start over from the beginning in that aspect as well. The only thing is you don't have as much freedom as you have, obviously, with the animation in Spider-Verse itself. And, obviously we have all those crazy animations, crazy transitions, crazy shots that you would never even think of seeing in a live action movie. And I think that might be the only thing maybe holding them back from pushing into full live action. And I think that's the beauty with the animation, is that there's so much freedom there.
Yeah, and as to kind of like add on to that, I wasn't too keen on the whole first person perspective on Amazing Spider-Man, where you see like his hands and stuff. Like I couldn't, for me, I
love that.
It's unique. I think it
was pretty
cool.
Right? It's like a
it's
GoPro,
unique and
basically.
Cool. But I'm more of a 3-person, see him actually flip and do tricks. Actually like 3-person view, where it's more like we can actually see what he's doing and how he's using his webs. That for me, that kind of like feels more actiony. but seeing like I feel like I'm watching Call of Duty.
And, the algorithm, Tom has said that Spider-Man 4 production has been delayed due to the writer's strike. So do you think they could do a live action Miles there? No, only because the writer's strike, it's affecting it's affecting everything.
But you noticed that they were quick to get the directors back to work. You noticed that, right? Like the directors came to an agreement because they're like, hey, with writers we can drag this out a little more, but directors we can't do anything without a director, so we have to come to an agreement.
Came to a deal on that, but
and gave the directors exactly what the writers were asking for, which is to have AI completely blocked from taking over their jobs. Which, I mean, if I was a writer, I'd be like, what?
It's gonna get worse because the Screen Actors Guild is in full effect with getting this, strike act, and basically in order so they can be able to actually, use the threat of a strike to be able to actually go into a full strike.
Well, because nobody wants to deal with this. Nobody wants to deal with what the writers are dealing with right now. The writers don't want to deal with it. The studios don't want to deal with it. We don't want to deal with it, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And
so, algorithm, that wouldn't happen. It like unless they had a script already written. And honestly, doing things that way, think about this. Deadpool 3 can literally flop because Ryan Reynolds cannot ad-lib. He cannot make any changes to the script. If it's anything stupid in there, if Wolverine uses his claws but can't stab anybody because it's not written in the script, if he cannot Deadpool cannot make a quip. Like if we see a moment, that would have been a perfect moment for a joke. If that ruins the entire film, it's the writer's strike's fault. There's nothing we can do about that.
Right.
Like, so I would not want a Spider-Man film written right now anyway, because I don't trust Sony live action like that.
Right. I get you. But I want to cycle back a second to what Taz was saying, and I just thought about this. The whole Secret Wars thing. They could actually do like that Shameik more older Miles Morales and not really have to go any further than that. Just have him show up. He's Miles. He's there for that one film, and then that's it. And then they walk away from it after that.
Give Shameik that time to shine.
Yeah.
Well, I would say they could do the same thing for Donald Glover.
They could. Yeah.
They could also do I was just thinking this. They could actually use an Avengers movie to pull someone that we never seen before out of the multiverse and use him as Miles Morales without the origin.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of like the Secret Wars, is because that's kind of the basis of at least some of the Secret Wars, is like being able to use characters from other places. So I think that could be a very big.
One thing I want to see is Chris Evans back as Human Torch.
He said he would do it.
Yeah,
he said he would do it. So
I'll be honest. If you go back, there's two things in those movies that I love, and that's Human Torch and Silver Surfer. That's it. Those are the two things that I think are really good in those movies. And I don't care how much you hate those films. That battle between Human Torch and Silver Surfer is iconic. If you go back and you watch that,
first one was good.
I don't think
okay, look, the fact that Galactus looked like a big doo-doo cloud, I'm not down for that.
Well, like obviously that, no, but
I will say that I think Doug Jones as Silver Surfer was actually looked really good. It just they just didn't necessarily nail the character.
Was in Ant-Man, so it's not like they have his number.
Yeah.
Wait, that was Doug Jones?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I love him.
Yeah,
everything.
He played Silver Surfer. Doug Jones is the king of the weirdest roles. Like if you look at some of the weirdest roles in movies, he's usually connected to them.
And Lawrence Fishburne actually voiced him, and you saw him in Ant-Man 2.
I'm so glad that Doug Jones is on Star Trek now. They have one more season of Discovery where he actually gets to act, because typically he's just a creature, but he actually gets to act on that show. So
now Fantastic Four reboot was dog shit. So.
Oh yeah, we're not even talking about that.
I mean, yeah, the Torch was good again.
It's fantastic.
Yes, Michael B. Jordan was the best part of that movie.
Best part.
Although I didn't like his, like wait and like hold the thing right there and go flame on. And
that was dumb.
I'm like,
dude,
okay,
you're just on fire all the time.
I know this ain't a Fantastic Four stream, but I have to say that movie. The reason why that movie was so bad, I think, is that the director wanted it to be more of a horror movie of the Fantastic Four, and the studio wanted a superhero movie. And what you end up with is a bunch of nonsense, because they didn't commit to either one. They didn't commit to the horror element, and they didn't commit to the superhero one. So we got like, you know,
pantsless thing.
Create your own story. Yeah, create your own story. Like,
and that terrible Dr. Doom.
Oh God,
melted, just melted, man.
Goodness.
What was Josh Trank's issue with everybody just being naked? The Thing was naked. Dr.
Realism.
Doom
I guess they wanted realism.
Come on.
I guess realism. I don't know.
I'm like, dude, like Dr. Doom doesn't have to be. He's not naked. And then this is really just pantsless.
Maybe that's his stripper name, Dr. Doom. Maybe that's what he gets paid for in the parties.
When the Thing ran up on Reed,
coming to the stage, Dr. Doom.
I'm like,
why do they call him Dr. Doom? Go ahead. Anyway,
I'm like, when the Thing just ran up on, was working for the government to find
another
Reed.
Stripper. The Thing. That's another stripper name.
I was honestly, I felt
fantastic. They're all stripper names.
Oh man,
that was the first Marvel film that I fell asleep on. I kid you not. I woke up at the worst part. It's fantastic.
I'm not about these hashtag movements, but I honestly would love to see the Josh Trank version of that with just no studio meddling to see what it would have been like. Because the second half of that movie is where it sort of falls apart for me, and I think that's the studio had a lot to do with that. They reshot parts of that movie without him even being there.
Yeah.
They took the people that did the trailer editing and brought them in to film parts of the movie. I'm like,
I still think it's dumb that Human Torch can't control his own powers, meaning he has to wear that suit all the time.
Yeah.
What if he's out on a date or like just outside and some kid just comes in, like just hits the knob? Like, kids do dumb things. Like, oh, what's this? Oh, don't touch that. Then you burn up a kid.
I have a feeling we're not going to have to worry about that with the Marvel reboot because I think they're going to nail it just like they do with like 95% of the stuff that they do. So please
give us the Johnny Storm and Peter Parker relationship. That's all I want.
That's what I kind of like am hoping for, that Tom Holland's Spider-Man meets Human Torch in Secret War. Secret
Wars.
Yeah, Secret Wars. I'm trying to. I got tongue tied. Sorry. So kind of want them to meet in Secret Wars, and then literally after that go into like Spider-Man 4 or something like that, or 5, wherever the case may be, and have like a quips like, "Hey, hothead," all these matchstick, all these names that I want, to tie into the comics, and I'll be like, feed me, like. I would like to see that.
So it depends on how old the Fantastic Four is, though.
They're at least 77.
And I would also like a clip, one of those in credit scenes where Spider-Man, Tom Holland goes into like Fantastic Four Baxter Building and literally goes up all the security and then just pop in and go, "Hey, what's up, guys?" All that. That, and then Mr. Terrific goes like, "That was expensive."
So what I want to do right now is Kata is sitting there looking lovely as ever at 7:00 in the morning in Japan. I want Taz to tell us a little bit about his channel because I know he streams a lot with Darren. Just tell us a little bit about your channel. We have a matching poster, and I'm digging,
we do.
I'm digging the setup. Everybody's
thank you.
Everybody's setup is like amazing. I'm digging Kata's too. But Taz, tell the chat a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, I've been on YouTube for quite a while. Started making content all the way back in 2015.
God, I love that mic.
Thank you. I started with gaming content, did mostly like Call of Duty stuff, a lot of zombies back in the day. And then I started watching The Flash and around like season 2, Zoom season, and I was like, you know what? I've seen a lot of people talk about, Zoom theories, that type of thing, so I decided to throw out some of my own theories, and those kind of took off, and I just was like, oh, wow, people are actually kind of interested in this, so I've been covering a lot of Arrowverse stuff. I did a lot of Gotham too back in the day when that was pretty popular. Some of my most popular videos are actually Joker, Jeremiah Joker speculation, that type of thing. Just love doing a lot of theories. That's kind of like where I like to slot in, because I know a lot of you guys love doing your reviews, and I kind of leave you in that space, and I'll do kind of like a lot of like breakdowns, theories, that type of thing, and just not cover like episode to episode, but more so just kind of like try to do maybe like more productions, like kind of try to make like a big production out of like a theory video, or like, you know, I didn't review a lot of the last few episodes of The Flash, and I decided to just make like a big kind of like ode to The Flash type of finale video, so that was pretty fun as well. So yeah, just mostly a lot of just like speculation, theories, and then I'll do some like kind of like retrospective wrap-up reviews, that type of thing. And I've been trying to dip my toe back into the streaming realm as well. Been loving watching streams and stuff, and Darren was kind enough to invite me on his stream quite a few times, and that kind of reignited my love for streaming. And you know, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad you guys invited me on, because I've been a big fan of the show for a while.
Now, next question. You've heard me talk about it, probably heard Eric talk about it, and Paigey, about where our channels are going. You know, now that we're transitioning out of the Arrowverse DC TV era. As far as me, like, if what happened with my voice and making long form videos didn't happen this week, I would have started my new series, which is basically side by side comparisons of like different Arrowverse characters versus their comic book counterparts. And, you know, still going to be reviewing like the Marvel TV shows that come out, mainly going to focus on stuff like that in live streams, and get back into the gaming stuff till we get some like real, like, you know, continuous content going. And Eric's going to focus on like the live streams and doing the daily feed and stuff like that.
Yeah, for me, pre-recorded videos are kind of going to go away slowly over time. I think I'm going to just start doing a lot of live streams on my channel.
So what are your plans?
Definitely want to stream more, because I've been enjoying it quite a bit, but I've also loved doing like video essays, like, you know, pick a topic and take like 2-3 weeks, sometimes even, very, you know, meticulously script something out, get a whole bunch of pictures, clips, and stuff together, and just really make it like a whole production. That's really kind of my favorite thing to do on YouTube, is literally just put as much creativity as possible into a video. And, you know, I love sitting down with a good script, with a good topic in mind, and just kind of, you know, trying to you know, share as much knowledge as I have on the topic with the audience as possible and stuff like that. And I just kind of love that video essay format, just because it's kind of like a mini movie in a way. And I feel like it's a nice production to go into that. So very much so, just kind of like same stuff, like definitely comic booky things, nerdy things, Star Wars even. Gonna try to branch into that a lot, and maybe bring some gaming content back as well.
I like your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Nice flash.
So before we go, I want to briefly jump into the Superman and Lois talk.
There's also into the Arrowverse. That was supposed to be like favorite moments, just briefly to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. So with the whole Superman and Lois thing, I saw Eric's review. Eric's review was quick. My review was quick, not by choice, but I mean, not a lot happened. I will say I am glad that they are moving away from the cancer storyline. I'm glad that was literally just, you know, hit, like they just hit it and quit it this week. The whole thing with the boys, I feel like, yes, we know about Jordan's social anxiety thing, but he hasn't really had to deal with it in quite a while. So diving back into that, for me, it was weird. Also, I thought decisions made by Jordan, and for him to have to go running to his dad, you didn't tell your dad that you literally stood there and waited for them to look at you. So, no, dude, this is your fault. You literally stood there like this. As soon as they look up, I'm going to jump away. Is it time yet? No, they didn't look up. You jumped away as soon as Junior looked up, but maybe he was too drunk. Like, let's be serious. Like, that was Flash season 5 level decisions right there. That was dumb for me. I do no. When you stand right there, but then you're shocked when somebody sees you.
I get it, but I don't think it was Flash season 5 bad.
Well, okay, but like that bothered me because I'm like, that's old CW mistakes. Like I get it, you got to try to. That was dumb to me. The whole thing with the shady governor, I do like that it was Granny Goodness, the actor for Granny Goodness, Christine Willis. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she was, from Smallville. She was cool. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, what if she's still Granny Goodness with all the shade she's throwing? You know, that whole shade she threw at Chrissy, and when she was being messy about the whole Sarah getting in trouble. Like I said, this episode did not have a whole lot happen. Junior saying drive away with your lights off so they won't see which way you go. They saw a car pull off. They're still gonna know which way you went, dude. Like that was dumb. And I think that's a bad influence because this is the second time that she has been caught drinking with him.
Yep.
So I don't know where they're gonna go with that. We only have a few more episodes.
I hate saying that someone is a bad influence, but twice now we've seen him and he's been with her when she's made bad decisions. So
yeah.
And also, I would like to point out I did like the scene of the rescue, but I did not like the whole because when the slow motion started, you expect Superboy just to do in Superboy time, save him, not freaking Blur. I expected them. I wanted him to do to go back to I was almost in nostalgia waiting for Smallville to the Smallville slow motion of Clark time.
Oh, yeah.
Of him actually saving people, and you see him, but not just not real time.
The other thing I did not like is Kyle has always been a irritating character since season 1. He's been a dick.
The actor.
I like the actor. It's just like he's been a dick. So, with the whole thing with Morgan Edge, that was his fault. Last season, the divorce, that was his fault. Today, you run up to the Kent's house and accuse Jonathan, of all people, of having the powers. He literally drove from the party and back. Right. I'm like, okay, so you accuse him. But the whole gaslighting, they were literally setting this man on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, y'all can't just tell him, like Chrissy, oh yeah, that was Superman. Yeah, he came by the Gazette after he did. That was Superman. It's so easy to just say it's Superman. You're trying to protect their identities. Cool. Just say it was Superman.
That's what I was saying the whole time.
And
like Lana, they said it was somebody else, or maybe they just couldn't see closely because he flew up. Since when doesn't Superman stay around? Maybe he had something else to do. It's so many explanations that they could have gave Colin. Oh, you're being crazy. I
also want to point out, I think it's a little odd that last season we had people flying around and doing shit all the time, and nobody in the city really talked about it. But here's Jordan, who's done something like once or twice, and it seems like it's the topic of everybody's conversation.
Kyle is just an investigative journalist now.
I would also like to point out my favorite scene in the entire episode was when Jonathan literally owns Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kid has matured a lot. He's turned it around.
Even, the entire scene where
the entire season Jonathan has been treating Clark's life, and Clark.
Well, let me say this though. The one thing that annoyed me about that is if that would have been the conversation that happened at the beginning of the season, like before this whole Lois thing happened, I would have totally been 100% team Jonathan. But he knows why Clark hasn't been around this year.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on. So to act like Clark setting time aside to do something with them, like he's just been lollygagging off to, doing nothing all this time or being Superman. We have seen Clark be Clark Kent with Lois more this season than we've ever seen, which means he's been with her a lot. So it's not like he's been blowing the kids off for doing stuff to be Superman. He's been dealing with Lois. And I thought that was a little bit annoying because we just had an episode where the kids were acting like it was such a big deal that they were being lied to by their parents because they knew something serious was happening. And then when Clark sets aside time to do something with the kids, all of a sudden now they're like, but you don't do anything with us ever. I'm like, I don't know. For me, something about that felt a little weird.
That wasn't that scene I was talking about. It's when parenting was involved and Clark was saying, you're at a party and you're drinking, give me those keys. And then Jonathan literally owns Superman and says, do you smell alcohol on my breath?
Yeah, I felt like,
but in Clark's defense, he was at a party with other people who were drinking, and he didn't drive any of them home.
Yeah.
He was by himself. So at the very least, if he's going to be responsible, what is that?
He was with Candace, right? His girlfriend.
Yeah, he took her home. Yeah.
But Candace, come on.
Come
on.
Like, that's smell it on Jordan.
I was going to say this. It's not like Candace is like also the whole Junior situation. Let's not even talk about Candace's impact on Jonathan.
He said, last year, you think I'd still be drinking?
Do you think that? How do you feel about Michael's portrayal of Jonathan over Jordan's portrayal of Jonathan?
I like Michael. I really like him. I feel like
Michael feels like he has like more of a emotional tie to Jonathan than Jordan Ellis was, because Jordan Ellis always portrayed him as a joking, one-up quip, kind of like brotherly, like you trying to like give him heart, what is it called? Hard time, brotherly stuff. But the Michael Bishop is giving more of an emotional story to him.
Well, that's because they're giving him something to actually do.
Yeah. I think this guy has more range because I mean he's more mature. It's weird because it made a 360 over. Jordan was more mature, and now Jonathan is more mature. Got his shit together, learned from his mistakes. Even though he's probably a good influence on Candace. But I thought it was funny because Candace was talking about her dad and how she never hasn't seen him. Like I think Clark shook him up or something.
Buzz left town.
Yeah, he left.
He has not been back since.
My thing top is, two favorite moments. That whole bar, that whole restaurant scene has to be like my favorite Clark Kent moment of the entire series.
I have a new favorite Clark Kent moment. When Kyle tried to run up on their porch and he ran into Clark's fingers and he just
two fingers.
He ain't know
he
what
could have done it with one.
That was so disrespectful, just flying away. He's like, I'm just gonna deal with you later, man.
Like he did not have to do that. But at the same time, like you hear the DOD crumbling and your wife's there and you got this crazy man in front of you talking about something. I know it's him. Dog, like, is it really that big of a deal to you?
Yeah. I was gonna say you do realize what this is gonna cause, though, right?
A rift between him and Lana,
and Sarah,
and Chrissy.
So, congratulations! We've just introduced more like drama into a storyline with a character that I don't think anybody really cares about.
In the last 3 episodes, where we're literally just ready for Lex.
Or depending on how they deal with him, he could eventually just like he would understand. Like at the end of the episode, he might understand, and then obviously that'll be swept under the rug, and we don't have to deal with that anymore. Hopefully, it's a one-off episode.
Where was John Henry this episode? The episode Pia
I
breaks out, and he's not even in the episode.
Yeah. They have been doing him and his daughter bogus since last season. Like just they're series regulars, but you just randomly pluck them out. They're getting a Cisco treatment.
They could have plucked the cushions out.
I think
or at least
they're going to have a big one next episode, though.
Yeah, it looks like they're in next
I'm
episode.
sorry.
Yeah, because they both are suited up.
If Nat is still trying to feel sympathy for Mateo after what he just did.
After last episode, I was like, it's done.
Yikes. So Quinn only hasn't seen the entire season?
I mean, I don't blame
I'll be honest. I think this season will be better on a binge.
Yeah.
I think the season will work better on a binge.
Yeah.
I see Taz nodding over there. Too,
no, I was trying to say, I think the season has definitely been a slow burn. It feels like and it feels like we're finally getting to what we've been kind of trying to get at this whole season with bringing in Lex and everything. We've had little teasers here and there. We even had that trailer that came out like a month or so ago, which made it seem like Lex was going to come in far earlier than he actually is. And it's very interesting to see that it seems like almost the whole purpose of this season in many ways is just to set up Lex for a possible season 4 that unfortunately we may or may not get. We might not get in the same capacity we've had this season. Not to say that there's been like a drop in quality or anything this season. I think it still has been very solid. One of the highest, production value shows on the CW, one of the highest production value DC TV shows. But I just feel like we're getting towards the end of the season now, 3 episodes left, and it doesn't feel like there's been a lot that has happened.
You're right.
It feels like they're saving a lot of it for the end, and I'm very interested to see what they do with it.
Speaking of this season, DJ Eric, what are your thoughts if they wrapped up the cancer story quick like they did in the episode, or would you think it's more natural to draw out?
I think they were probably going to get a wrap up to the cancer story in the next episode. That's what I think. I think we might, or at least an answer to what's going to happen, because I don't think they want to wait until the very last 10 minutes of the final episode of the season to do that, because I think they want to I think they want to set up season 4, because the president said there's a big cliffhanger, and I'm assuming the cliffhanger is Lex Luthor related, probably. If the cliffhanger is Lois possibly dying and then we don't get a season 4, that's not cute at all. So I'll be honest, she's been killing this storyline. Elizabeth Tulloch has been doing a great job with this, but I don't see, like we were talking about just now, what's really happened this season. What's really gone on this season? Like, John Henry's storyline has been so interesting, but they give us breadcrumbs. They give us breadcrumbs of the John Henry storyline to give us a love story between Chrissy and Kyle.
They gave us Bizarro 5 episodes ago to still
Bizarro's been
really
chilling. Bizarro has been chilling.
They literally had Tyler Hoechlin get in the makeup and just
I think Bizarro, they teased Bizarro so long ago that and I forget he's even a factor until they show him again, and then I'm like, oh yeah, we still have Bizarro. And then I put him in a thumbnail, and people that are watching Superman and Lois are like, oh, that's the same picture of Bizarro we've seen every week, because it's the same one we keep seeing on the episode, the same scene, him laying in the damn hospital bed.
And what's kind of interesting that I kind of theorized that they used Bizarro's blood, right, for Pia. It's going to have the reverse effect, because he's from the inverse world. If you use Superman's blood, from his veins, I think it would have a better effect than what cure her totally. But using Bizarro's blood, it's going to backfire, because I didn't know this when theorizing this, but the synopsis for an episode that's coming up, it backfires.
Yeah.
From what I can gather.
But hold on, Ted. But the regular blood has also been backfiring. It's been giving people powers, but it hasn't been curing them.
They were using the what do you call it when you make more blood? They were using that. It wasn't actually from his veins.
I still don't think it will make much of a difference. That's just me, though. I think using Superman's blood is an easy cop out, and plus you would be making Pia extremely powerful. But Taz, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I feel like there's almost been a cut storyline or a missing storyline this whole season. Remember how when we were going into it, there was all this talk that David Ramsey would show up as Diggle, and then right before the season came out, we heard, he's actually not in the season, and that could kind of go back to what Eric was saying, how we haven't had a big John Henry Irons story. It definitely feels like there was a story or a version of this season that was John Diggle, John Henry Irons, investigating a lot of this Mannheim stuff separate from the Clark and Lois storyline and everything like that. But instead, we've got all these little small side stories, the Kyle and Chrissy story, the kids doing their thing, kind of going around in circles, Jordan and Sarah kind of having the same story week after week is kind of weird. It feels like there was a piece of the puzzle missing and they had to fill in the gaps somewhere.
I wonder, do you think Lex would have been a main character starting earlier if the Bruno Mannheim story was sort of relegated to John Henry and that plot point? Because if you think about it, Bruno seems like a fill-in villain for Lois and Superman, because he doesn't seem. I hate to say this, he doesn't seem like a necessarily just a purely bad person. Like it seems like what he's doing does have some sort of there's ethical questions to why he's doing it. Clearly he's doing things that are bad, but he's not doing them for evil, insidious reasons. And I think that would have been a better storyline for John Henry to deal with his sister and Natalie and Mateo. Yeah. Like all of that would have been really interesting. And then Clark and Lois could have been investigating this Lex thing about him being framed. That might have been the story that we were going to get. And then they had to like merge them together because the Diggle storyline got dropped. So Taz is probably right. I think that's a good possibility because we're treading water. That's why I said in my last review, I'm like, I feel like I'm reviewing the same episode every single week. It's the same thing.
You can't really
Elizabeth is good. Tyler is good. The kid's storyline is fine. You know, I'm tired of seeing Kyle. Bruno Mannheim is amazing. It's the same story. It's the same review every single week. Like I could literally, like I might do it as a joke. I might upload my same review from last week as my review for this week and just add in a different part at the very end of the video because I can guarantee it's going to be the same stuff. It's going to be the same stuff.
Yeah. And going on what Taz said with the drop storylines. Just think about how much more interesting it would have been to see John with Diggle as opposed to seeing John going crazy and getting beat up like every other episode. Mm-hmm. And
also, are we never going to address Pia's powers?
Are we never going to address the fallout from John killing somebody in the middle of the street?
Right.
How do you do that and then not have him in the next episode?
At least locked up at the DOD or something.
Something.
But he's at home. Like in Smallville, you can kill somebody in front of everybody and just go home.
The governor didn't want to go to the home of the person that just literally killed somebody. Yeah. They were literally on the same street.
I also want to point out that the whole thing with John Henry, with that happening, it would have been a really interesting follow-up to look at the dichotomy of what actually went down instead of like Superman just going, you had another way. Well, tell us what the other way is then. Like, if that's the way you look at it, tell us what the other way is. But
Clark's too busy trying to go to WrestleMania in Metropolis.
Yeah. Which, by the way, can we talk about how ridiculous that was? I mean, I understand he's trying to be a good dad and everything, but, like, the fact that all this other stuff is going down, John Henry murdered somebody.
Yeah.
And this is the follow-up to that?
Also, did you go get a refund for your tickets, bro? Like, you don't have money. We talk about Barry barely being. We've seen Clark at his new job. What 3 times this entire season?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it. Canada Grabs confirmed that the set is still up. I don't know if you saw that or not. The Smallville set is still up. Yeah, he was there. He was there yesterday and said that everything is still there. So they haven't torn anything down, which means it has not been canceled yet. So. I'm assuming that all of our theories about it still being negotiated with HBO Max is probably true.
So there is hope.
So, but yeah, hope. Superman and Lois.
That's all about Superman. Superman's X means hope.
You guys didn't miss much. It was literally just the wheels turning again. Like that's literally it.
Pia breaks out. That's it. That's
Pia
pretty
breaks out.
It's the main thing.
Don't understand. Is it a canary cry? I saw somebody saying that she maybe merged together with Silver Banshee. That's not automatopoeia for me. I'm thinking we're gonna get automatopoeia. She can mimic people's voices. She can make people's ears bleed. She causes mass amount of damage. What is she?
Do you think we're gonna find out how she got those powers? Or
no, that's my question too. I don't know. I don't think so. They're kind of glazing over it.
In that whole speech about no powers, and Superman's the only powered person, just fell right through because it.
I have a theory. What if we've all thought that Bizarro is going to be the one that turns crystallized based on the set photos that fight Superman at the end? What if it's Pia? What if she becomes the one with the crystals and that Bizarro is just a corpse laying on a table? You know what I mean?
And Bruno's gonna be like, not my Pia.
Or
Bruno injects himself and causes it to happen.
I need water to spit.
Look, I'll be honest. I feel like we already know the season's going to leave us on a cliffhanger. We already know that. So I feel like the story with Bruno and everything will probably wrap up in the penultimate episode. And then the finale will be very Lex-centric. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's going to feel very much like I don't even know, like not even a tease. It's going to feel like it's setting up a season. I truly believe we're going to get a season set up for season 4.
I'm calling it now. Lex kills both of them. She's terrified of Lex, which that was the one part I loved about this. The way she described Lex being the only man she fears. Michael Cudlitz is a big dude. You have to have some balls to challenge him. You have to have some balls to challenge Lex regardless. Like, from what we know about Lex from any universe, this man is willing to give himself cancer.
And also
and cure it.
The one thing I thought was kind of ridiculous. It's DOD. Didn't they search him?
Search who?
The kid.
Oh, Mateo.
I mean,
don't you gotta go to like a metal detector to get in like facility?
Yeah, but isn't that? But
it's a cufflink.
I was gonna say they hit it as a cuff. So,
I mean, anything metal should have like said no, you can't have it go in there.
Well, but the thing was, I think it was designed because I'm gonna just assume, and this is not me making excuses for him because you're right, it could be a problem, but I'm just gonna assume that Bruno knew what the defenses were and he basically set that up so that it wouldn't get found out. That's the only thing I can think of.
Now Mateo got to be on the run with his dumb self.
And Mateo probably wasn't scrutinized as highly as Bruno. Like, think about it, it's her kid. They probably weren't thinking much about it. Right. So,
but now he's an accomplice, man.
Yep.
He's going to jail.
So Superman and Lois. Let's hope this week changes up the formula. Before we jump out of here, 3Dub said something about like just stating your favorite Arrowverse moment. For me, mine will always be the and this may be weird, but for me, mine will always be anytime Tobias Will had something to say about black people, especially it appears in season 4 in the finale.
Give us a quote.
You're just the chocolate covered Incredibles. When he said that, no, because it's the scene where Jefferson walks in and just sees them having dinner. Sees Lynn and Tobias having dinner, and he's like flipping out. He's like, the whole family is just a chocolate covered Incredible. That killed me because I'm like, you have said some off the wall stuff, but that takes the cake. That was hilarious.
When he first was introducing the pilot, I thought it was hilarious how he grabbed the guy's neck and was like, like what?
Tobias was always over the top, but season 4 turned him into a comic.
Yeah, I was like, season 4, he was like a cartoon supervillain. It was really weird.
What they did with Lex.
Yeah.
So I think
what's yours?
My favorite one is always the Barry and Joe moments, and also any dad moment because they were all kind of like it felt like real emotion. You know how it felt like really good. I liked it. It was a nice way of pulling away from the action and seeing the turmoil that Barry goes through. Like my favorite scene would have to be in the pilot or the second episode when they're having pizza and goes, "You'll always be my dad," or something like that along the lines.
Yeah.
Toxic.
I would say for me, kind of any time we got a chance as like
Mike
as a community to come together and speculate on the identity of a masked character. I think that was always so fun.
Yeah.
Zoom, Savitar, Prometheus, the Man in the Iron Mask, just like anytime there was a masked character and you would just get flooded with theory videos and you could just come up with like the craziest things and just put anything out there and just see what sticks, and everybody kind of like, came together to speculate, and I thought that was pretty fun.
Were you right about the Iron Man, the mask and
I was not. I was way off on like everything. I don't even know who I thought it was like back then. I know I threw out for Savitar. I remember though, I threw out like Ronnie. I threw out Eddie. I threw out just like random characters. I know I was really attached to Tommy Merlin as Prometheus for the longest time. But yeah, like just so many just random crazy theories, crazy moments.
For me, it kind of like threw me for a loop when when his body mass changed. So I was like, I had one theory, and then he just shrunk. I'm like, okay, who is he?
This was before CG Countergraphs was on his game, so we never knew the identities of these people. But now like Red Death, we even knew even before.
Even.
Are we doing like just moments? Is that what we're talking
like
about?
Favorite
moments
that
anything from the fandom or from the show?
Well, when I talked about this on my stream, I said Crisis on Earth X, which is still my favorite like basic story because I love the whole Death of Firestorm type thing, or at least Martin Stein. But if I had to pick another one, yeah,
and
that was probably one of the best deaths they've done in the Arrowverse.
I cry before Jax cries, and then when Jax cries, I laugh.
Oh, well. I would have to say my favorite, though, if I have to pick another one, is the Doom World Legends of Tomorrow storyline, where Reverse Flash wins. Or we're not Reverse Flash, but the Reverse Flash Legion of Doom storyline where they go back and they have to
Cisco.
Yeah, it's that world where there's like everybody's been murdered and he's trapped the Black Flash inside of a special room and everything. Yeah, like that.
The legends
that
aren't worthy of being killed.
I'll be honest though, that was a storyline that was back when Legends was still doing like top tier shit, and I thought that was really good.
Season 2 was peak for Legends.
Yeah. So that would be my
season 3
thing. Was
season 3 was cool until they made the big.
I think season 3 was still good. I think after season 3, that's when it fell. But
so I have to say, I kind of hated season 3 up until the final battle, and then Bebo versus Malice was like really good.
That's what.
Yeah, how can you not love that?
Yeah. So we got a funny take. We got a action take. We got dark take. So Taj, what do you got?
I think mine's more racist.
yours
dark and gruesome death take. Okay.
the first crossover with
the first
Barry
crossover. You mean the pilot?
Just like him coming over. No. Like the
Flash
actual
versus Arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the third crossover?
Nah, that was the official crossover. And definitely the Bebo moment at the end of season 3 of Legends, because I didn't expect it, and then when it happened, I was just like, you know what? It's Legends. It fits it.
But it looks so good, though.
It looked really good. The CG was crazy good. That's where all the money went that season.
Kata?
Mine's Crisis on Infinite Earths. I mean, the crossovers, because like after COVID, it was never the same. But during Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think a lot of the shows were really, really good. Like I was watching all the shows, so it was really interesting. Like watching like Black Lightning, Legends, Flash, Arrow, Batwoman, maybe not Supergirl so much, but seeing all those the dynamic of all those characters come together and like how they planned everything, all the Easter eggs, all the little characters that would come out. But yeah, just because all the shows were real good, and then just seeing what they're gonna do when the crossover.
So Mayada Dean says that her favorite is the Oliver moment where he says, "I wanted to and I liked it."
Oh yeah. Season 5 of Arrow was like a breath of fresh air.
Golden. Yeah. John Noble voicing Malice was awesome.
Yeah. Was it? Hey, no. Them constantly try to figure out how to pronounce his name.
Malice, Mulus.
Cicada.
I will say for me, my favorite crossover after Crisis on Earth X, because that will forever be like peak television.
It's number 1.
It had to be Elseworlds. I loved Elseworlds.
Yes.
Elseworlds was seeing the set photos come out. Like I remember sitting in my apartment when Canada Graphs dropped the whole John Wesley ship on the street with Melissa.
The 90s with the 90s Flash.
With the
outfit,
90s.
yeah.
I was sitting on my couch, and when I was just laying back, waiting for one of the shows to come on. And when he dropped that, I did a flip off my couch. I ran to my kitchen. I just started running around my little apartment because I'm like, oh my God, they recreated this suit.
Can we talk about how cool it is for John Wesley Shipp to have played Barry Allen back in the 90s, to be the first like major live action Flash? It was supposed to be a movie. That's why the suit looks so good.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a movie to come out right after the Batman movie, but they turned it into a TV show instead. The suit was super expensive. I think there was only like 3 of them, they said, to wear the whole time. To have that and then have it canceled so he couldn't finish it, to then come back as 2 different characters on the modern Flash TV show and get a chance to wrap up the storyline from his 90s TV show. I mean, that's love. That's truly love when it comes down to it.
John Wesley shit will forever be the GOAT.
I also feel like the 90s Flash and this 90s Flash is too different because of the because we have already established that Superman can have different colored powers. So the 90s Flash is more like a season 1 Smallville run where it's just blur, and this Flash has lightning coming out of him.
I think that's just because of the times. Because in the first episode of in the pilot, Barry didn't have lightning.
He didn't. Well, yeah, and he also didn't have. I thought that was weird. I mean, I get that if you're increasing your speed, obviously something's going to change. And Smallville's case, he didn't have lightning off coming off
because they didn't have that. They didn't have that effect perfected. Taz, you were about to say something?
Oh no. Is that when we were talking about John Wesley Shipp, he did also voice Reverse Flash and Brave and the Bold as well.
That's true. Yeah.
So even another one.
I remember when I found that out, I went back to watch that episode.
So he's been the Reverse Flash too. So he's actually played both versions of the Flash. Actually, all 3 versions of a Flash now he's played, because obviously Jay Garrick. So
no, I have another favorite scene. In Armageddon, seeing Tom Cavanaugh looking absolutely jacked in the regular Flash suit. I said, your arm is as big as the foam that they put in John Wesley Shipp suit, like the side by side shot, and you're just looking at him, then you're looking at Grant. I'm like, dude, Tom is like pushing 60. I said, and then his chest is just out, and I said, oh my god, what is going on? I said, that works.
Also, there's a great deleted scene where Reverse Flash talks to Harrison Wells. Have you seen that scene, the deleted scene?
From Crisis on Earth X? Yeah.
I mean, I understand why they deleted it, because the context of it would have made it really difficult, like beyond that scene.
Yeah.
As a payoff, I kind of still wish they paid off the Reverse Flash versus Superman.
Yeah.
I'm like,
look, we can argue about this shit all the time, I know, but I still think under a lot of circumstances, a speedster with like full knowledge of how to use their powers could beat a Kryptonian.
Yeah. We've seen it happen.
Possible.
Apparently you look like Ezra Miller today.
Yeah, he's joking because I put out my Ezra Miller video earlier. So
yeah,
I gotta go check that out.
I go through everything that Ezra has done since all this drama started. I go through every single one of them.
I'm about to
it's like a 20. It's a 20-minute video. So, well, no, not that good because there wasn't a lot of video footage. But yeah, there. I go through and I have all the different incidents like in chronological order in the video. So.
We'll have to
not because I want to bring any look, the reason why I made the video is because every time I do a live stream and bring up Ezra and people like boycotting, they're like, what did he do? And I'm like,
just watch my video.
Just watch the video. I put a video out. Go watch that.
I had to tell somebody today over on Facebook, they're talking about for this to be a Flash film, they surely are, doing a whole lot of Batman production. I said, what did you expect them to do? He's like, it's a Flash. I said, well, given the Ezra Miller situation, what did you expect them to do? And he's like, what Ezra Miller situation? What did Barry do in the movie? What? I said, no, the real life situation. He said, what happened? Dog, what didn't happen? Where have you been at?
When I started going through and having to double check all the stories, it took me like days to get through everything because it was just so much, and I couldn't even find everything. It looks like they've scrubbed some stuff from the internet. Like some of the stories have been removed from some of the articles. So, yeah.
Before we go, Quinlan has a question. should I bother finishing Titans? For me, I'd say yes if you just want a conclusion to the story. This last season is way better than season 3. It's a nice wrap up.
And
It's
you don't have to
not-
wait that 4 months in
Yeah.
between the mid-season finale and the
Yeah.
back
Doom
half.
I'd say
Patrol, we
watching
don't
it
even
as a
know.
binge as opposed to what we had to go through.
Yeah. It would-
I'd say watch it. What do you guys say?
And the Gar
is it really a
episode.
conclusion though?
Even just for the Gar episode, you should watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
oh,
yeah.
Yo, just
Yeah.
watch the Gar episode. That's all you have to watch.
That
was a great
episode
episode.
alone was amazing.
Yeah.
Joseph Morgan as Brother Blood is amazing. The effects this season are way better than they have.
You
been in
know,
a
you
long
know
time.
what? The more I look at it, the death of everything we love is because of the Warner Brothers merger with Discovery. I mean, it pretty much
Yeah.
killed everything. That's really what it was.
Yeah.
Because that and the Next Star stuff with the CW, like those two events killed like DC television, pretty much.
Yeah. Sadly.
There's nothing. We got Penguin coming out. That's it.
And
That's it.
I
That's the
have
only
a
live action
feeling
thing we have
that,
next year.
speaking of the Flash, it's kind of funny that no one outside of Twitter knows what's really going on with Ezra Miller, and even then, not a lot of people actually realize what he's doing. And I have a feeling it's going to make money because no one actually knows. what he did.
I don't think that like I
Yeah,
said, the video that I
exactly.
made, the majority of that stuff has been swept under the rug. So I don't know if it's going to affect the film.
Yeah,
at
it
all.
won't affect. I don't think just a small portion, maybe.
What if they paid
It's gonna
like
make money
YouTube to
regardless.
sweep, like put the algorithm to like ban, like those videos from surfacing? Like
I don't know.
the algorithm, instead of the algorithm like making
Well,
people see it.
A lot of the news came from like TMZ, like 3 of the different articles that I followed to go back to TMZ. So I know those are still there. There's a couple of Variety articles, something from People as well. So those still exist, but the one like the allegations that of what happened on the reservation with the with Gibson was the person that he was with, they were with on the reservation, that whole situation. That story had a very detailed outline of what happened, and that was an independent news site. There were pictures, there were videos. That is gone, completely gone. So I would not be surprised if you're right. Something like that, they probably paid money to have that taken down, or they filed some sort of lawsuit against them.
I think the interesting thing is going to be after the box office run that everything's just going to like come out, because they're not going to put a lot of effort into trying to stop all that stuff going out. So,
And also, I'm like, for me, when I hear controversy about an actor, it doesn't pull me away because, as we all know, we're DC fans. So we go for DC content. We don't go for the actor. So for me, I'm going for, because it looked like a cool movie. And that's all I'm going to comment on that because, obviously I don't like what Ezra Miller did, but I'm going to watch it and, watch the movie.
Well, I didn't have to make much of a decision because I got a free pass. So.
I paid $13 for mine.
Yeah.
No,
I bought the children ticket for like my entire family. So
oh,
I
your
didn't pay
family's
as much.
going? Oh,
yeah, my kids want to see the Flash.
yeah,
So
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, no, I
What's
mean,
your thoughts, Taz?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a big DC fan. I was gonna go see it anyway. I think it really boils down to just separating the art from the artist, I guess, is really the best way to put it. Is
Chloe Sullivan,
you're going to enjoy a movie separate from any controversy, from any behind the scenes things that may have happened. You just kind of go in there looking to enjoy the story for what it is and nothing else. So that's kind of the perspective I'm going in with it.
Yeah, and countless other people have worked hard on it. It's not just It's not one person brings the whole thing down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you want to support all the other people that have worked so hard on this film. So
yeah.
So are we at our final moments?
well, yeah. Before we go, I want to thank everybody for being on here and dealing with me as I ate like 3 cough drops, 3 popsicles, and an entire bottle of water.
Right, talked a lot.
Hey, it works. It works.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't just sit back. I had thoughts, but I want to thank Toxic Taz for joining us. You're welcome back anytime. Kata is always welcome. You look extremely tired, but I know you have to go to work.
Yeah, I just woke up. Yeah.
Taj, welcome. Well, duh, you're always here.
I'm always there.
3 Dubs, you're fired. 3 Dubs, you're fired. No, I'm just playing.
No.
3 Dubs does a lot for me, so I appreciate it. And as always, the originator, DJ Eric.
OG, the man himself, the DJ, who is Eric.
Before we go, I would like to put something up on the screen that we can all enjoy. The man, the myth, the legend, Eric Wallace. Everybody, this is a horrible picture.
Wait, is that him?
Yeah,
that's Eric.
That's a terrible photo. Like, what? I guess he was talking, but
to Nicole, Daniel Nicolette.
Yeah, most likely
talking to Cecile.
I'm glad he's out there striking though. Like, I respect this. Like,
well, I mean, you know what I respect about it is, I mean, he's not working anyway, so he might as well get out there and strike. So he didn't pass up a job to do it, so it's a good thing. Yeah, he's going to be on strike for a long time, even after this is done.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants him anywhere near their properties. But guys, it's been fun. I shall see you all this week with no, we're not putting up the seal. We're not putting up the seal, Mayada. The seal is put away for forever. Catch you all this week with some good content. DJ Eric has the after party this weekend. Darren will be live. I'm sure Toxic Taz will be on there tomorrow.
Yes,
and
I will.
Catch you guys later.